Hello everyone, my name is Rihanna Palmer, and today I will be showing you my treatment brochure. So first I have a table of contents. I'll be going over the treatments, introductions for those treatments, usefulness as it relates to the children, the benefits and outcomes when these procedures are done correctly, facilities within Charlotte as to where you can find these interventions, and then I'll have a reference slide. So the three treatments that I will be going over will be social stories, pivotal response training, or otherwise known as PRT, and the picture exchange communication system, which is also known as PECS. So first starting off with social stories, it's a common intervention that was developed in the 90s. They're used to provide needed information regarding social activities in a simple visual format, and it'll explain the expectations for appropriate behavior as well as the consequences for individuals with autism. ABA practitioners may use these social stories to describe various situations that a child may encounter, such as riding the school bus, being bullied or teased, as well as how to take care of a pet. These stories can expand on what different emotions others around them may have and the different responses that may be appropriate as to what they can engage in. Social stories are always written from the reader's point of view to describe potential upcoming social situations. So, more of an introduction to social stories. Social stories can be individualized to reflect situations, environments, various concepts, or social interactions in order to increase social skills within individuals with ASD. Social stories are easy to implement and they are also cost efficient. This makes it easy to be replicated across a variety of different behaviors. And then social stories are typically implemented with two different components, which is first writing a story and second implementing that written story. So when are social stories used? Social storybooks can be written by family members to tailor to social situations as far as what environmental or social stimuli they may come in contact with. They're useful in decreasing problem behaviors as well as still increasing more socially appropriate behaviors. Who benefits from these social stories? It can be beneficial for individuals with ASD that may have a harder time understanding social or body cues, situations, or even the perspectives of other people. Social stories have also been proven to be effective because of the outcomes that we see, as far as the children are now not scared to ride the bus anymore, or they're now independently able to feed or walk their pet. So here's some examples of a social story. In this one, it says, my teacher and friends feel so happy to see me. It's about saying goodbye. So before I say goodbye, I can use my body to let my teacher and friends know I'd like to say something to them. This means using my eyes to look at who I'd like to talk to and turning my body towards them. Then there are lots of fun things that I can do. I can give a goodbye wave to others too. So here's some more examples of different social stories that can be created. Teaching a child a morning routine, as far as getting dressed, brushing teeth, washing their face, eating breakfast, going to the grocery store or the mall when there might be a loud or noisy environment or it might be crowded with multiple people, preparing for the holidays, asking for help, making friends at school, as well as riding the bus for the first time. So some more benefits of social stories. One may need to reevaluate what the social story is addressing if it isn't working. Social stories can also be used for 4 major categories within ABA. This includes reducing challenging behaviors, increasing positive or appropriate behaviors, managing transitions in novel situations, as well as feelings of anxiety, and teaching new skills that may target academic readiness or daily living skills. Social stories are also efficient in supporting behaviors that could be maintained by various different transitions throughout life, such as growing up and reducing feelings of loneliness and anxiety for children aged 5 through 11. So where in Charlotte can your child go for social stories interventions? There's the Carolina Center for ABA, and I've put their address and phone number here. Solving autism, also their address, phone number, and the person that you can reach out to as far as getting services started. And then as well as ABS Kids, their address, their phone number, and their email is also listed here. So moving on to pivotal response training. It's a type of natural teaching method within ABA that focuses more so on motivation aspects within the natural environment, and it uses a child-led approach. PRT is effective when implemented at an early age as well, and intense within the child's environment. It can also include participation of parents or others or other family members. So what is pivotal response training? There's 5 different components of it. There's motivation, responsivity to multiple cues, self-management, self-initiation, and empathy. So diving more into what PRT includes, it also shows a major focus in 3 areas, which can include responsiveness to the environment, the rate of that responsiveness, as well as positive principles of ABA. The child gains reinforcement in more natural ways by receiving natural consequences. Using this kind of naturalistic intervention maintains generalization with various responses, as well as decreases the need for prompts. PRT is more efficient when targeting areas of everyday life skills, as opposed to using a structured ABA intervention, such as discrete child teaching. And the discrete child teaching is more so when you observe a child that's working at a table and there's lots of instructions. It's usually super fast paced. So with PRT, it's a slower pace and it's more so child led. And then moving on, the benefits of PRT. First, some studies show that PRT can portray a faster rate of skill acquisition, as well as decreasing challenging behaviors that are observed. Target skills are learned through this intervention, ranging from joint attention to communication skills. The second benefit, research studies have proven that PRT interventions are more effective in increasing appropriate social and functional communication skills across children on the autism spectrum. The third benefit, it also might have an increase in the outcomes that are seen because the child has more access to preferred toys as well as activities, and as opposed to using different stimuli cards or pictures when teaching during those intervention phases. And where can your child go for PRT interventions? There is Jenny Mathis, who is a licensed social worker. She has the facility Charlotte Autism Insight. Her number is here, as well as her email address. There's also Step Ahead ABA, and I've listed their physical address as well as a phone number. And there's also Mosaic Therapy, and their address and phone number is here as well. And lastly, we have the PECS intervention. So an introduction to PECS, it's the Picture Exchange Communication System. It's an evidence-based and socially valid intervention that increases functional communication. And it starts off by a single picture with the desired item or action that's handed to their provider, who will immediately honor their request. So for example, if they pull a picture of an action that says open, then we would immediately open the door. So an overview of the implementation. PECS is a socially valid intervention and increases functional communication. It involves that picture with the action being handed to a communication partner. It doesn't have to be just an action, it can also be an item. And then the communication partner will then honor that request immediately. PECS is a way for nonverbal children with ASD to increase their quality of life by making picture exchanges. Children can also be taught to request access to tangible items. They can also be taught to ask for activities to be stopped, such as pulling a no or a break peck, as well as attention. PECS is a communication intervention that also has 6 different phases, and it requires a training protocol in order to encourage those spontaneous social interactions and vocalizations. It uses a 3-term contingency, which includes an antecedent, a behavior, and a consequence. So the 6 phases of PECS, we have phase 1, how to communicate, phase 2, distance and persistence, phase 3, picture discrimination, phase 4, sentence structuring, phase 5, responsive requesting, and phase 6, commenting. PECS is also evidence-based. It's about 50 to 90% effective as far as the outcomes that are observed. There's about 190 different articles that support PECS as an intervention for children with an ASD diagnosis. The effectiveness of this intervention is also essential to how the parents implement it at home. PECS is a common intervention, so mainly because it does provide that functional communication. It increases vocalizations, joint attention, and social interactions with others in the environment. Stakeholders must also receive the proper training and procedures as far as to what to do when you're doing this intervention. Maintenance is also dependent upon the continuous opportunities that can be provided by anyone in the environment. So some benefits of PECS. PECS are proven to increase those vocalizations for children, and it's easier to generalize across different environments and people than other forms of nonverbal communication. PECS was also founded on Skinner's verbal behavior. For many children with ASD, it's the first form of functional communication that they have. It's also very cost efficient as far as you don't have to make a big purchase and go and buy a device. You can make your own PECS by simply printing them out or creating them by drawing them. PECS is highly individualized, and a considerable aspect of implementation would be identifying those reinforcers for each learner, because then you can build upon their vocabulary by adding more and more pictures. So PECS may also look different across learners. And where can your child go to use PECS or receive a PECS book? They can go to A Bridge to Achievement. I've put their address here, phone number, and email address. There's Complete Kids, and we also have a physical address and phone number. And lastly, there's Autism 360 with a physical address and phone number. So I hope that this presentation was helpful to you all as far as finding some interventions that can work within the community. And these are the references that I have for my presentation. Thank you for watching.